tangu kuamini. Tuimbe. Ninao wimbo mzuri tangu kuamini, wa mkombozi mfalme tangu kuamini. Tangu kuamini, tangu kuamini, jina lake tasifu. Tangu kuamini, nitalisifu jina lake. Kristo anitosha kweli, tangu kuamini. Mapenzi yake napenda, tangu kuamini. Tangu kuamini, tangu kuamini, jina lake tasifu. Tangu kuamini, nitalisifu jina lake. Ninalo shuhuda sawa, tangu kuamini, linalo fukuza shaka, tangu kuamini. Tangu kuamini, tangu kuamini, jina lake tasifu. Tangu kuamini, nitalisifu jina lake. Ninalo kao tayari, tangu kuamini, nililorithi kwa Yesu, tangu kuamini. Tangu kuamini, tangu kuamini, jina lake tasifu. Tangu kuamini, nitalisifu jina lake.
Habari zenu tena. Nitaenda kumkaribisha mwalimu mwingine aendelee na aanze na kipindi cha kwanza ama cha pili. Kwa ajili ya muda, hata yeye najua anapaswa kuwa mahali kwingine, lakini tunashukuru Bwana kwa neema ya Bwana, tutaendelea. So acha nikaribishe Elder Chris kutoka Nairobi East. Welcome Elder. Okay, sawa. So wangapi pamoja nami wanakaribisha Elder Chris? Okay, sawa. Karibu sana.
Sawa. Nimeambia kuna wale ambao wanatufuatilia The topic that we want to talk about is about Christian values. Sijui value kwa Kiswahili ni nini? Value kwa Kiswahili ni? Sawa mchungaji, Kiswahili imepotea hapa. Lakini tunaelewa what values are. Tunaelewa. Now, the first thing that we need to appreciate as children teachers. Now, the Bible says that woe unto you, woe unto you, woe unto you. Kwa nini? Kwa maana the lives of these boys and girls are where? In your hands. And that's why I think should be in Psalms 127, where it says that, like a spear, the children, we are the ones to direct them where they want to go. Vile mmekaa hivi, kama nataka kulenga mmoja wenu, mimi ndio nitalenga pale natakana ifanye nini? Hiyo kitu yende. And that is what we are before the children. So the lives of these boys and girls are in our hands. So how do we do it? So when we talk about values here, we want to see how do we inculcate, how do we ensure that the values they have are good values. So the first example, it is you and me. Are they seeing Christ in you? Are they seeing Christ in you? Psalms 1 verse 1 to 3 says, "Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsels of the wicked, but his delight is in the Lord, is in the law of the Lord. He is like a tree planted by streams of water. Whatever he does prospers." Blessed is a man who does not walk in the counsels of the wicked. Now, if you don't walk in the counsels of the wicked, it means you are walking in the counsels of God. And as children look at you, they'll be seeing God in you. We are talking about values. Good topic, very important topic at this particular time, as we are talking about that children are haywire. Children are bad. That is what we are saying, that children are bad. Watu wengi ukiwauliza wanasema watoto wa siku hizi ni wabaya, lakini swali ni wazazi wa siku hizi wako aje? Ushajiuliza? Wewe kama mzazi uko aje? So we are talking about blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsels of the wicked. Now, you see, as children, what seemed so harsh was the best thing for them. When you are growing up, unaweza angalia wakati ambapo mambo yamekuwa magumu, what things like ikinyesha, unaona watoto wanakimbilia kwa mvua, wanafanya nini? Wanacheza ndani. What seems so harsh was the best thing for them. Not only them, and even you people who are seated here. Unless unataka kunidanganya huku kucheza. I know right now watoto wa siku hizi hawachezi vile tulikuwa tunacheza. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, this 1 month ago, I was doing a similar training for the teachers. I don't know, how many were there in Jericho? Hey, there was a beautiful training, certification training for children ministries teachers in Jericho Church for this area. And I was telling them, as children were growing those days, there were things they were doing that made them to be the children, not what we have nowadays. Right now, I'm not talking about technology is bad, but right now children don't think. Mipira wananunuliwa. Wakati wetu mpira ulikuwa unafanya nini? Unajitengenezea. Dolls were not being bought. Dolls, you make it. You make it. So there are things that children were doing that were crazy, but not really crazy because they were children. And the writer says here, what seemed so harsh was the best thing for them. They enjoy in that. So we look at the values tree. When you think about the values tree here, we are talking about good genetic stock. Yani yale mambo ambayo watakuzwa na yale mambo wata-inherit, do you have enough of it? When they look at you, can they see good things wanaweza chukua wanapokuwa? Good soil, goodness of fit. Miti ikiwa pale kuna chemichemi nzuri, unaona ya kwamba itakuwa vizuri. And that's what we are talking about. We are talking about how do we pass the values to these boys and girls. Sunshine of love and warmth. These are good values. Watering with gentle teaching from God's word and life experiences. God's word. And Psalms chapter 1 has given us that blessed is a man who does not walk in the ways of the wicked. So we need to water. We need to make children grow with gentle teaching from God's word and life experiences. Then the fertilizer. Special teaching experiences. Those experiences ambazo tumepitia, tunawaeleza, and they are good experiences that will make our children grow. Because if we are not careful, Wakristo wenzangu will not have a church tomorrow. Neither are we going to have homes. All of them will go. All of them will go. All of them will go. Then when I talk about pruning, mti umekuwa, sasa ni kutoa zile vitu ambavyo si sawa. We are talking about discipline. Again, that is another topic for another day. Maybe if you have a seminar, we can talk about discipline. What is discipline? Now, discipline comes from a Latin word which has two things. It says disciplinaire. Disciplinaire. It has a lot of lessons that children will draw out of the discipline that you are making. But as tumeona ya kwamba discipline ni kiboko, sijasema kiboko ni mbaya. But that is where we look at. That is what we are looking at. Only when you talk about discipline, you think about viboko. No. So pruning, toa vitu zile mbaya mbaya. Kwa mtoto naona labda avae vizuri, aongee vizuri, kwa maana anapokuwa nyumbani kuna wale ambao wanakutana kule nje ambao si wazuri, so anakuwa na vitu vingine ambavyo si nzuri, so unajaribu kutoa hizo vitu kidogo kidogo. Then protection from winds and storms. We have to protect our children from winds. Winds and storms are these things that they encounter on their way as they grow. They go out, they play around, they meet other children, they get things from other people. They see the media is there. Media also teaches them wrong things. But now we want to inculcate good values, good Christian values in our children. Talking about the values, trees. Now, this guy, Robert Cole, says that children need more than good food, a nice physical environment, a psychological understanding. They need to learn ethical principles, a firm notion of what they ought to do and what they ought not to do and why. So, si iti ya kwamba kupatia mtoto chakula nzuri, it's enough. No, not at all, not at all. Not at all. There are other things that this child needs to. A firm notion of what they need to do. Firm. Hivi tunataka ifanyike hivi na hakuna nyingine. And explain to them, let's not be parents who normally talk of don't. Tell them even to emphasize more. In behavior modification, we say talk about the positives more than the negatives. Because if as we are created, unajua kile ambacho unakatazwa kufanya ndio unafanya nini? Unataka kufanya nini? Ufanye. So emphasize on more things you want them to do. Little about those things that wamefanya vibaya, as much as you mention them, but stress more on the good aspects of that. It will give things well. In the book, Child Guidance, page 143 says, parents teach your children how to conduct themselves in the home with true politeness. With true politeness. Educate them to show kindness and tenderness to one another. Such that when they go out, wamejifunza nyumbani how to stay with other people, they'll go and extend it to the other people out there. But what are we seeing? At home, vita. At home, kelele. That is what they're learning. They'll pick that as they go out. The principle of heaven are to be taught, are to be brought into the government of the home. Every child is to be taught to be polite, compassionate, loving, pitiful, courteous, and tender-hearted. Child Guidance, page 143. These are things that we are supposed to teach our boys and girls at home, and now as parents and as teachers, can we do this? The principle of heaven to be brought into the government of the home. Why are values important? Number one, lights the dark moments of decision. Lights the dark moment. There are certain decisions that normally are so hard, but when you have your own values, they know what to do. It will lighten up those dark moments. Points the way to the path of integrity and honesty. When we start teaching them these things as they grow, mambo ya corruption itakuwa ni hadithi. Because they know. But now when we start at home with a lot of things that children are being bribed, and you know we do them unconsciously. For example, you tell them, you call them, there are these names that we give them, mommy, daddy. Ati mami kula tu nitakubaia sweet. Now this is food, inafaa mtoto afanye nini? Akule, unambembeleza. Ati end uoge, ukishaoga nitakupeleka out. Don't we say, no, nyinyi huwa mseme, wala wengine huwa wanasema huko nje. Huwa mnasikia watu wakisema hivyo? Nyinyi hamsemi hivyo. But now these are small things, you know, utasema, hiyo tu. Now that is how it begins. Huyu mtoto amezoea ndiye afanye kitu, lazima afanyiwe nini? Now akaa kwa ofisi. Kile ambacho inafaa afanye mpaka afanyiwe because that is what is in the mind. That is what we are talking about. Let's point to them the path of integrity. Keeps the soul in tune with God. Values keeps the soul in tune with God. Then when that is done, as children grow up, we'll have beautiful homes, beautiful church, beautiful community. Provide a sense of purpose. We live without purpose. Tumeishi tu. Hatuelewi. Even who we are, we don't know. Now, if we don't know, what about our boys and girls whom we are with? Direct the means and ends of actions. How do we do things? They talk about the means. The end justifies what? Is it the means justify the end or the means justify the end? Now, they don't care. Wao wanasema ni nini ulikuwa unatafuta? Sasa usijali vile nitaifanya. Hata nikiiba, si wewe unataka pesa, nitakuletea. Are standards of conduct. Values are standards of conduct. How do we conduct ourselves? When we come to church, how do we behave? When we walk to church, how do we behave? And right now, we have given children different things. In churches, we fight. I was being told one of the churches where people go to church, na wamebeba visu. Na wamekaa, wamekuja. Na saa hizo wanasema, wanaimba. Kuna hii wimbo huwa tunaimbaje? Ta 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 na kaza mwendo mbinguni kila siku na saa hizo anapanda juu na ameweka nini? Kisu. Anaambia mchungaji, ukisimama hapo nitapita na wewe, na anapanda juu. Hiyo ni jua aina gani? And children are watching. We lock even gates of churches. Unasimama unaambia mchungaji hautaingia. Woe unto you. Woe unto you. Now, these are the things that we are talking about, our standards of conduct. How do we conduct ourselves? Do we have values ourselves as parents and teachers? And values begin with who? God. Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 says what? Genesis chapter 1 says what? Hiyo inafaa tu tumejua. In the beginning? In the beginning what? God. Yes, in the beginning, God. So even values in the beginning what? God. God. Without God, values do what? Die. Without God, values die. Today, God is no longer the source of values for most people. God is not at all. Where do we get? Values begin with me, not God. Ubaya. Values should not begin with you, but begin with God. He is our source. He is the source. Society emphasizes values like athletics, good things, talks about materialism, talks about physical appearance, talks about status. That is what the society is talking about. So values, no. But we are told that values begin with God, not any other person. God's values are sometimes drastically different from the secular values, and that is true. Completely contrary. Zinapitana kabisa. What are God's values then? What are God's values? If you read Galatians chapter 5, 22, 23, what does it say? By the way, that one you should know. Hiyo msisome, unajua, what does it say? Galatians, what does it say? Oh, you are children teachers? And some of us are parents here. I have a soma. Ebu soma.
New King James.
Yes.
But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace.
Watch hapo. We are talking about values. You see, the fruit of what? The Holy Spirit is what? Joy, peace, love. And those are the things that we are supposed to share with our children. Teach them. Teach them. Teach them. And all those, if you read, you'll have all those texts and read, you'll appreciate all that. Now, generation next, 3/4 of adults and youth believe truth is relative to the situation. That hakuna, unajua, inaweza kuwa, it depends with how you look at it. It depends with how you look at it. There is no obsolete moral truths. So, naweza fanya kitu kibaya, lakini I can justify how and why. And this is a very serious thing. This postmodernism thing, where now young people can justify how they behave, and us adults also can justify how we behave. So it's, no, there's no obsolete truth. There's no obsolete truth. Now, when you're talking about values, talking about certain things, when you look at love, love has a lot of things around it. We have faith, we have respect, kindness, compassion, honesty, integrity, patience, humility, responsibility, self-control, loyalty. Now, if our children grow up with some of these things, the church will also be good. Tukisema tunakutana saa 3, tutakuwa tunakutana saa ngapi? Saa 3. Hautaulizwa ni saa 3 ya mzungu ama ya Muafrika. Nashindwa imetoka wapi tabia. Mzungu na Muafrika. We are all human beings. When we say 9, we mean 9. But if we look at all this, how do we teach children to be faithful? How do we teach them to be respectful? Now, once they know that as they grow up, that is what is in them will be at peace. Effective methods of value transformation. Number 1, maintain positive relationships. You as a father, you as a mother, you as a teacher, maintain positive relationship with your children. And also with your partner. Child Guidance, page 496 says, as the very best friends of these inexperienced ones, parents should help them in the work of overcoming. They are inexperienced, so it is our responsibility as parents and as teachers to do that. They should consider that their own dear children who are seeking to do right are younger members of the Lord's family. With living interest, they should teach them day by day what it means to be children of God and to yield the will in obedience to Him. Teach them that obedience of God involves obedience to their parents. Once they respect you, once they respect you, it means they also respect God. But they should not respect you, they should not fear you because utachapa. Abana. No. Number 1 we said is what? What was number 1? Maintain what? Number 2 is what? Modeling. So what is modeling here? What to do? Parents and teachers' actions, words and demeanor, how we behave, how we walk, how we talk is aspects of modeling. They are looking at, we normally say, monkey see, monkey do. So if you want them to eat well, can you eat well? If you want them to make noise in church, make noise in. But don't make noise in church, and when me as a little boy I make noise, unanikasirikia. But I've seen, because monkey see, monkey do. So can we be role models? How they treat others and treat them. How you as teachers treat others, how you as parents treat others, and will also treat you the same. Their attitudes and behavior, we live as if it is difficult, yes. But when children look at you and they feel that it's so miserable, you are Christian, unaomba kila wakati, lakini unalia kuliko kila mtu. It can be difficult, yes. I'm not saying that is easy. Yes, it can be difficult. But now, if parents, we don't believe in faith, we don't have faith, inakuwa ni changamoto. Changamoto kabisa. So our attitude in how we look at life, our behaviors also part of modeling. How to handle disappointments. Yes. How do we handle disappointments? How? As parents, how do we handle disappointments? What Christians do when they make mistakes, forgiveness in Christ. Wakati umefanya makosa, do you say sorry? Do you say sorry? And children hear? Now, when they hear, as they grow up, even them, whenever they do something wrong, they'll be able to say, I'm sorry. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. Important. If God could forgive us, God could forgive us. God, not any other person. The person who created you forgave you. Now, who are you? Unaambia mtoto, hii sitakusamehe sasa. Siwezi kusamehe. Now, if God says so, utafanya nini? I'm not saying that we don't discipline. Again, I mentioned about discipline, but that's a different topic for another day. But I'm saying here, when now we talk emphasis about that, you know, you cannot forgive. There are those who say, this one, I'll forgive but not forget. That one, don't even do it. Don't even do it. How God is at work in their lives. Tell them God is working in their lives, and can they see it in you also? We are not finished products. God is still working every day as we wake up. God is working, and good things are coming. Moody says something here, where one man reads the Bible, 100 read you and. One man reads the Bible, 100 read you and me. Now, in other words, we are saying, ya kwamba unaposoma Biblia, the Bible transforms you. As you walk, people are not reading the Bible, but they are looking at you. You can be the signboard to church. People can follow you to Christ because what they are seeing, Paul says, is no longer I who lives, but who lives in me? Christ. Testimonies, volume 6, page 119 says, parents are giving to their children an example either of obedience or transgression. By their example and teaching, the eternal destiny of their household will, in most cases, be decided. In the future of life, children will be what their parents have made them be. So, msianze kusema watoto wa siku hizi ni wabaya. The source of watoto wa siku hizi, it is you and me. Monkey see, monkey do. They have seen it and they are doing it very well. Number 3, teachable moments. Number 1 was what? What was number 1? Number 2? Now number 3? Teachable what? Moments. Teachable moments. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5 to 7. Again, a popular verse, says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And these words which I command you today shall be in your heart. You shall teach them. Now Moses is being instructed on what to do. Then he is being instructed that let the Israelites do the same. Let them teach their children while they are walking, while they're in the house, when they are doing things. Let them be taught. Let them be taught how to create teachable moments. Articulate children's actions of kindness, hospitality, ability to resolve conflicts. Provide events, experiences, and materials to develop traditions that create a bond between generations. In the house, how you behave, how you do things, let it be an opportunity where children will learn some of these things on how to bond between generations. Provide examples to think more deeply about moral issues and dilemmas in various situations. Yes, they go through those situations, but how do they go over them? How do they go over them? Gardner says something here. Self-renewal. All too often, we are giving our young people cut flowers when we should be teaching them to innovate. We think of the mind as a storehouse to be filled when we should be thinking of it as an instrument to be used. So our children are like robots. Our children are like robots. No creativity, because we ourselves don't give them that opportunity. Now, teaching strategies, stories, where we talk about object lessons, questions, real life situations, act it out scenes where they'll see you what you want them to do, act it out. If you want them to walk softly in the sanctuary, can you walk softly in the sanctuary? Posters and pictures around. Values journal where they write those good values that you want to see or what they have done well. Post Bible verses in strategic places. Can be, if they have a classroom, that is where you need to post. In their rooms where they sleep, post those verses, Bible verses in their room so they can read them. Pray with children every day as they go out, as they come in. Pray with them. Pray with them. Pray with them. They'll know good values. Positive. Number 4 is positive discipline. Number 1 was what? Effective what? Number 1 was what? Relationship. What was number 1? Maintain what? Number 2? Number 3? Right. Number 4 is positive discipline. Now, discipline guidelines. Correct misbehavior with love. Correct misbehavior with love. Explain the reason for punishment if there is need for it. If there is need for it. Kama kuna sababu. But love should always be the basis of correction. Avoid being authoritarian parents and teachers who control children through punishment and reward, retard moral growth. Punishment and reward. Kuchapa-chapa, kuchuna-chuna, kutoa matusi. Adults who treat children with respect, fairness, and consideration promote moral growth. Children even learn as they grow. Children learn as they grow. Talking about how do we pass over these Christian values to children. Number 5, establish family altar. Family altar, where they know that this is a place of worship. This is a place of worship. Now, these are the values Genesis study on a family worship. Now, if you ask yourself these questions, these are 2 scenarios that we are given. If you look at, a study shows that how often does your family have family worship? Never. 23%, that one's 26%, and all that. I'll give you the notes will remain here. You will look at all that and see how it is. But we need to practice. Less than once a month, about once a month, about 2 times a month, about once a week, several times a week, once a day, more than once a day. So where do you stand? Where do you stand? Opportunity for covenant renewal during the family worship. Rehearsal of religious heritage. Where did we come from as Adventists? Tumetoka wapi? Tunaelekea wapi? What are the new things in the Adventist church? If you are from an open discussion talking about relationship building, because you sit together with the children, you eat together with them. They feel good. Number 6, involvement in service. Involvement in service. Let the children participate. In other circles, we talk about participatory kind of activities. Now, getting children and young people involved in service in the church and community, as well as in the home, helps them to internalize values such as love, compassion, patience, humility, kindness. If it is a children's Sabbath, let them participate in the program, and not only during the children's Sabbath only. Please let them do it. For example, with the children's sermon, I don't know how you do it in your churches. Let the children sermon. You know the children's sermon, what we call the children's story. Let the children themselves do it. Most cases, let the children do it. That is part of involving them. Now, service projects, talking about start and adopt grandmother, grandfather program. These are just activities that they can do. Make cherry cards for placement and on food trays in the hospital. Now you get these get well cards. Just write some good things. Let the children do. Volunteer at a local soup kitchen. Now this one, the soup kitchen is not applicable here, but here we are talking about volunteer kind of behavior. Develop a culture of volunteering, which is dying away. Right now, children, once they have done something, they need to be paid. Clean up sessions, rake leaves, cut grass, etc. We are talking about having activities where children can go out and enjoy. Cleanups, they go clean the area, or kote takataka hivyo as they go. Now, the responsibility of parents and teachers. Number 1, live the values. Those values you want them to be, can you live them? Can they see them in you? Teach the values, teach them. Make right and wrong very clear. Let it be, this is right, this is wrong. Let it not be gray. Give lots of practice in making decisions. Challenge them with situations where they are supposed to make decisions. Show your child how to deal with peer pressure. Because sometimes they are overwhelmed on how to deal with peer pressure. Show them how to deal with it. Show them how to deal with it. Is there any question? How many ways have we looked at? The first one? What? Maintaining. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Right. Any question? Any question? Any addition? Any comment? Yes, Elder.
Maybe my concern will be, thanks for the service and the training. Could it be maybe at our homes and families, or even churches, where our children have been affected by our behaviors as parents or teachers? Now, how can we assist these children so that they can go back to their normal life?
Okay. Is there any question so that we handle? There's one here. This one, that one. There are two, here and here.
My question is, at the current situation where we are living now, because we have seen children have become robots, how can we assist them? Because when you find where I'm living, the only place they can play is the PlayStations, computers, phones. How can we assist at the current lifestyle we are living in?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Mine is just to ask a question in regards to discipline. Since the Bible tells us that spare the rod, spoil the child, which is true. But you find that many children who come from strict disciplining families have ended up being spoiled in their young adulthood or in their adulthood, because we find that most of them have ended up getting into crime, or even like having that pain of being disciplined by their parents, transferring it to others. And by saying most, I know there is a place where you say that we should tell them, like we tell them, and also we discuss with them before disciplining. So how can we handle the disciplining, especially in this era?
Thank you. Very important questions. Number one, the first question was about behavior modification. How do we undo or unlearn that which that has been learned? Now, if me as a parent has been the cause, then the burden comes to the church. And that's why we are going through this training. Now, as you talk, you may not know, when children sit down, you may not know what they are going through at home. So your responsibility is to have activities, have programs that will help this child. Number one, they must look at you and I know children believe on us as parents so much. They trust us. But now, let them know that you are a human being. And this human being is a sinner. This human being is a sinner who can make mistakes. Now, the difference between that person who is in charge is that this sinner who has made a mistake can seek for forgiveness. Remember I talked about forgiveness? Can say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Such that they even know that, oh, daddy or mommy who has done 1, 2, 3, yes, he's a sinner. He didn't do, because sometimes we make children look at us as supernatural, that if any mistake happens, it's like that is the end of it all. But we have to take them through a process of knowing that yes, there are mistakes in life, but we can seek for God's forgiveness for us to go back. Remember, Christ came to die for us so that we can go to our original position. All of us, regardless of your age, your sex, we can go that back. So you take them through the process, and that's what I'm talking about, because the problem is at home. When they come in church, what we have been looking at here, let the child look at you as a role model. You are bringing the picture of church and hope to that child who has come from a home that there's no peace, a home there's fights, a home that everybody is quarreling. So the burden comes to us. Follow the steps that we have looked at on how to bring this child, nurture this child in a different way, so that this child can still go back and be able to be a good role model the other side. Be good role model the other side. And it couples up with what he's saying about discipline and being strict and all that. And I said here, discipline has nothing to do with caning. Completely. Discipline has nothing. But I know many of us is discipline equals to caning. That if a child does anything wrong, the best way is to cane. Now, caning is only to prevent the occurrence of that thing because of the pain. But it's not removing it completely. And I'm not saying, don't quote me that I said you should not cane them. If you want to cane them, just do. But remember, the law prohibits what? Go look at the Children's Act. the Children's Act, what it says about corporal punishment. Usifikirie ni ya shule. It is for all of us. And we are in this country, there are laws. So as you do it na ujue, ikitoka hapo ifike kwingine, utajua huyo si mtoto wako. Atasimama pande ile, na wewe usimame pande hii. Naanze kusema ulimchapa. But what I'm saying is this. There are children who have had challenges at home. Now they come to us in church. And that's why we're going through this training. What good values are we going to teach them so that it helps them to unlearn that which they have learned, which is not right? Help them, those children who have gone through difficult moments in terms of behavior modification, in terms of discipline things, that can see the bigger part of what the Lord says on how a child should grow. Now, in the context of discipline, yes, the Bible says, I know sometimes it's so funny when you read the Bible. The Bible talks about that if you spare the rod, you are doing what? Now, again, the same Bible says that thy rod comfort too. Have you read that verse? In Psalms. Yes, the rod do what? Which rod is this? Yeah? Now, how does it comfort? You know, normally the caning comes as a result of so many things that have not been done this other side. And that's why we are told that childhood training does not start when the child is born. Childhood training starts when the child is in the womb, so that the child knows as they grow. Now, as they grow up, the child when is born, we talked about discussion where the child knows there are mistakes. And if you do mistakes, there'll be consequences. Now, what are these consequences? Let me tell you one thing. There are children whom you'd rather cane them but not deny them certain things. So as a parent, as a teacher, you need to know what your child loves most. So as a form of discipline, you may withdraw. For example, like you have child play, those playstations. You tell them for the next 3 days, there's no PlayStation because you did 1, 2, 3. Now, huyo mtoto ataumia. Atakwambia daddy, si unichape tu iishe. Unasikia? Unichape tu iishe. Because they know that one has more pain on them. We tell them, no, sikuchapi. Nimesema hakuna PlayStation for 3. Now, this child, next time, hatataka kurudia ile, because you have denied him or her something that he or she cherishes more. Kiboko utaweka. And you know kiboko, what the dangers of kiboko? I'm a trained teacher. I taught until 1999 March when I left teaching. And those days, we used to cane. Unakuta, especially girls who are so bad, and they're still bad like that. Taka kuchapa na kuweka mkono hivi. Hivi. Umesema unachapa 3, ataweka hivi. Umechapa 3, baada amefanya hivi. Baada umeshamaliza 3. You as a teacher, what do you think? Unasikiaje? Unajua umechapa 3 na bado mkono iko hivi. Anakuambiaje? What interpretation can you have? Yes, hata hiyo kitu umechapa haina maana, si uongeze, uendelee. Now you, because wewe uko na hasira, unaweza endelea na hata uamue kiboko chini ushike. Unaweza hata mtoto. Because uko na ile hasira, mtoto amekuonyesha madharau. Kuna wengine kama ni boys atalala chini, and those days they used to say kukausha. Utachapa na simama hapo na unaona kifanya hivi, anatembea hivi. That boy becomes a hero. You see? Now, so what we are saying, look at discipline methods that will have an impact in their lives in terms of you can withdraw certain rights or certain privileges which will have meaning to their lives. But these ones of viboko, yes, viboko sometimes it helps because it deters. They don't want to be caned again, so it deters. But you need to think, understand your children. What are some of the things, like if it's in a church situation, they came late or they were joking around, they're playing around. When you have classes, you tell them there's no break today. You just see their eyes. There's no break today. Why? Because of 1, 2, 3. When they come next time, they'll behave well because you deny them that break. Now, in my church, break means not just the break. Break means kukula. Break means kukula. So, because they carry certain snacks. So, break time, they go and eat those snacks. Now, when you say there's no eating, whoever did something wrong or then that made all of them to miss this is in problems. So they want to behave well, because if they misbehave, there'll be consequences. So that is what we are talking about. Discuss with them. Now, why must you behave well? And remember, point number 2 was modeling. If you want them to come early, come what? Early. They'll see. So whenever you tell them that you are late, they also know, oh, teacher comes early. But now when you tell them to come at 9, you come at 11. And nobody talks about it. Let me give you a scenario. Some years back when we were in New Life Church, we used to meet in Central Church. And we used to meet at 9 in the morning. And the practice was that if you are late, as a form of punishment, you go around. Those days, these buildings were not there, the LMS, those buildings, so there was space. So you run around. You run around until the teacher decides now it's enough. Now, one day I came late, and they used to sit, if you go to the union, right, that place in front of the union. So they sit there facing the gate because they know teacher will come in through the gate. So I walk in the gate and I start hearing, teacher is late. Teacher is, what are they telling you? You have to do that punishment. Do you know, I had to go around until they told me, teacher, enough. And you know, the beauty was that when I started running, they also followed me. So all of us were running. But one thing that I'm emphasizing here is that because I was late and there was an agreed way of punishment, I also went through it. Next time, they would not want to do it because they know even teacher, when he's late, he also goes through the same what? Punishment. That is aspect of training and coming up with discipline ways. Now, you're talking about playstations and all that. Now, we need to create opportunities for children. That's why within the children's ministry, if you look at the curriculum, there are lots of opportunities of creativity in it. I don't know whether you see them. In my church, I see sometimes the little girl I have in my house sometimes says, Daddy, walisema twende na scissors. Pair of scissors, Embakasi. Sometimes unakuta vitu za kuchora-chora, vitu za kuandika. Now, these are the things that they need to do. They need to make. And once they've made them, they take them home. They are part of the things they use as their examples, they use for playing and all that. Sometimes they make dolls. I'm not telling you not to go and buy your children dolls. Just buy, but also give them opportunity of expressing what they have. Out of that, I remember last year towards December, I went to South Church doing an investiture. There was a girl, I think a girl or a boy, who draws very well. Very well. Just sits down. You know, I was preaching, and the boy, I think it was the boy or a girl, seated somewhere there. By the time I was through the preaching, he had drawn me. When you look at it, it's like photocopy. Drawing a small Pathfinder boy. Now, these are the talents that we are missing. You see? Now, you give them opportunity of doing that. He'll just sit and look at you as you're teaching, just drawing you. By the time you finish, I'm going, teacher, ebona. So we need to give them those opportunities to do what? To express, because we are killing talents in children. Those playstations, I'm told they are being developed by children somewhere. They bring to us, our children are not developing them, are consuming. What are our children doing? What are they doing? I normally tell people, the issue of CBC tunaona huko nje. The Advent Church, we started doing it a long time ago. Look at our things, activities in church, either for the clubs, the Pathfinders or Adventure. Available, we can still talk and move on. So may God bless you. Please, you are in the right hands. Do what is right, do it well, so that children can grow and become the people we want to see. Sasawa, let's stand up as we pray. Let's pray. Dear Jesus, you are good. Father, you are good because when we call upon your name always, you are always ready to answer us. This morning, Father, we have gone through a session empowering us as teachers of children, Lord, to have the right skills to be able to bring them up in a way that pleases you, Father. It is challenging, Lord, in the environment where we are. And that's why, Lord, this morning we submit ourselves to you that you may guide us, show us, hold our hands, that all that we are going to do will be that will make our boys and girls be modeled and be good people in the lives where they live, Father. This morning, Father, I've discussed with your saints. I pray, Lord, that even as they continue with the session that is remaining, Father, may you guide the teacher who is coming in, Father. May you bless each and every one of us, even as I leave to another meeting in Syokimau, Lord. I pray for Johnny Mercy's, Father. Bless all of us, Father. And let's meet that time, Lord, that you have planned that we meet again. If not possible, Lord, here on earth, Lord, I pray that let none of us, Father, meet that place where all of us will be as we celebrate the successes that you have enabled us to do. For this we pray through Jesus Christ, our Savior and Lord. Amen.
Mwamba wetu kutupumzisha yukivuli, kuburudisha yumongozi katika njia, kimbilio taabuni. Iwayo yote yeye tu, kimbilio taabuni. Twamjua yeye mlinzi aliye karibu sana, mwamba wetu kutupumzisha yukivuli, kuburudisha yumongozi katika njia, kimbilio taabuni. Mungu wetu ficho kwetu, kimbilio taabuni. Siku zote uwe boma lililo karibu.
2, 1, 2.
Praise the Lord. What do you say for our elder? So now I believe elder will be leaving shortly. Amen, amen. Unaona watu wamebarikiwa, watu wa Embakasi. Tunashukuru sana kwa ile Mungu akuzidishie neema zaidi, akuwezeshe hata pia wakati mwingine uweze kupatikana tena utufundishe zaidi. Mahali umeachia wakati mwingine hasa uje uendeleze kwa neema ya Bwana. Tunakutakia safari njema na naamini wote ambao wako hapa wamebarikiwa na Mungu akulinde na kuongoze, na karibuni kwa ajili ya kipindi kingine. Wacha tutawapatia fursa ambao wako hapa mbele. Kwa hivyo ukienda
Hamjambo. Good afternoon. Tusimame kidogo. Haya. Natumai sisi wote ni walimu wa watoto, si ndio? Yeah? Yes. So tunaenda kuwa na chorus kama 2 hivi ndio tuweze kumkaribisha dada wetu. Okay, na inaenda hivi ya kwanza. I want to grab an elephant, walking fast, walking slow. I want to grab an elephant. Jesus made them, I know. Tuko sawa? Yes. Are we ready? I want to grab an elephant, walking fast, walking slow. I want to grab an elephant. Jesus made them, I know. I want to catch a butterfly, flying high, flying low. I want to catch a butterfly. Jesus made them, I know. I want to catch a swimming fish, swimming fast, swimming slow. I want to catch a swimming fish. Jesus made them, I know. I want to catch a kangaroo, hopping slow. I want to catch a kangaroo. Jesus made them, I know. Mara ya kwanza tumefanya kama watu wakubwa, si ndio? Sasa tunaenda kama watoto wadogo. I want to grab an elephant, walking fast, walking slow. I want to grab an elephant. Jesus made them, I know. I want to catch a swimming fish, swimming fast, swimming slow. I want to catch a swimming fish. Jesus made them, I know. I want to catch a butterfly, flying fast, flying slow. I want to catch a butterfly. Jesus made them, I know. I want to catch a kangaroo, hopping fast, hopping slow. I want to catch a kangaroo. Jesus made them, I know. If you're happy and you know, say amen. If you're happy and you know, say amen. If you're happy and you know, and you really want to show that you're happy and you know, say amen. Si mama, si mama, ruka, 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 si mama. Tembea, 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 ruka, 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 si mama. Zunguka, 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 Tunaenda kuingia katika kipindi kingine ambao tutaweza kuongozwa na mwalimu wetu dada ama Dr. Olfa Nyakudi. Anaitwa nani? Hello, anaitwa nani? Yes. So naenda kumkaribisha wetu ama mwalimu wetu katika mazungumzo ya leo. Kwa hivyo dada wetu ama Tisha, karibu sana. Kabla aweze kuongea nasi, tuamini na tuombe. Mungu wetu na Baba wetu, asante tena, tunakuja mbele zako tukiomba Roho Mtakatifu aweze kutuongoza, na ni katika jina la Yesu Kristo tumeomba na hadi kuamini. Amen. The echo.
Hello? Are you getting me? Is it working? Oh, beautiful. He has just notified me. I didn't want to use it, that there are others online. So, that is all right. Sorry, how many could be online? Oh, 15. All right, all right. And good morning again. Are you all right this morning? Yes. My name is Orfa. I'm a member of South Church. And I'm also a member in a Sabbath school known as Kileleshwa Sabbath School. So you would ask how I go to both. I actually try and go to both of them. And because I find Kileleshwa nearer, and my family goes to South Church, so it forces me at times to go to both. Now, when I came in, I was thinking so seriously about what Pastor told me to talk about. Pastor told me about 3 months ago to come to this church. He used to be our church, Pastor Masese. He used to be in our church. And so he told me about 3 months ago. And I actually just thought seriously about it. And guess what? I had so much, but there is one thing that comes into my mind always. Whatever God has given me, I want to use it in His service. And that is why I actually am here. Whatever God has given me, I want to use it in His service. And that is why I have the topic Pastor has given me. I don't know, do you have the program? Oh, you didn't get the program. Now, the program. Hello? Is that better? Is it better? Okay. All right. Now, Pastor told me to talk about, or guided me to talk about understanding a child's psychology. And then I found it, I was wondering why Pastor wanted me to talk about that. And sorry, that is why I have put what I have done there. I normally don't put that. And I have actually, in my studies, in masomo ya dunia, I have studied educational psychology. I have done child development, and my doctorate was also on the line of children. That is why I have done that. I normally don't do that introduction. And now the approach is going to be slightly different, but similar to what our teacher was giving us. By the way, I gained from that teaching. That was very good teaching. But I wish I had given my teaching, then he comes after me. So that now he actually completes. It could have been very good, but I want you to try and think the other way and see how to put the two together. Because I was just wondering, when Pastor tells me to talk about understanding a child's psychology, he has not actually given me any reference to a Bible here. Do you know that? But somehow, we will get to the Bible. And I like when we talk. And we are going to talk. And talk a lot. I might not even give everything that is here. We are going to talk. And I want you to be ready that we talk. And now that you teach children, I want to tell you, I'll ask you a few questions. And I would want to get some response so that we agree on where we are and how we will go forward. But I want somebody to open the book of 1 Kings 5, verse 8. 1 Kings 5 and verse 8. 1 Kings 5 and verse 8.
1 Kings chapter 5, verse 8. I'm reading from New King James. It says, Then Hiram said to Solomon, saying, I have considered the message which you sent me, and I will do all you desire concerning the cedar and the cypress logs. 1 Kings 5, verse 8.
Read the next one.
Verse 6. My servants shall bring them down from Lebanon to the sea. I will float them in rafts by sea.
1 Kings 5, verse 8.
Yeah, verse 8, yes.
And 9.
Yes.
Okay. Read again, 8 and 9.
1 Kings chapter 5, verse 8, I'm reading from New King James. Then Hiram sent to Solomon, saying, I have considered the message which you sent me, and I will do all you desire concerning the cedar and cypress logs. Verse 9, my servants shall bring them down from Lebanon to the sea. I will float them in rafts by sea to the place you indicate to me, and will have them broken apart there. Then you can take them away, and you shall fulfill my desire by giving food for my household.
Okay, I don't know whether that's not really the verse I'm looking for. Probably I didn't get it right in quoting. I'll get it right. The verse I'm looking for is the one that says, Blessed be to the Lord this day, who has given to David a wise son. There is somewhere where Hiram talks like that. And someone who has gotten it, it should be around the same place. I think I just missed it a little bit. Where Hiram says, Blessed be to the Lord this day, who has given to David a wise son. It's a verse chapter? It's verse 7, eh? Yes, I thought that. So it's verse 7. Please read it again. Read verse 7.
1 Kings 5:7. So it was when Hiram heard the words of Solomon that he rejoiced greatly and said, Blessed be the Lord this day, for he has given David a wise son over this great people.
Good. Just leave it at that. I told you I like very interactive sessions. How do you know Solomon? And I want us to be very honest. Unajua, the Bible is very honest. Have you ever known that? The Bible is very honest. How do you know Solomon? Yes. Now, somebody can... could we have somebody to pass around the mic? Or probably I would come down. Yes.
For me, I can say as the wisest man in the Bible.
Yes, that's what she can say about Solomon. And the others? Walimu wa watoto. You've never thought about Solomon.
A man with several wives. Yes. 700 and 300 concubines. A man with several women. 700 and 300 concubines.
Is that positive or negative?
Negative.
Are you sure? And why is it in the Bible? Somebody else again. What do you know about Solomon? Yes, please. Do you have somebody?
1, 2.
Is the mic ready? Okay. You give him. I want to know what you teach children.
Solomon became king after his father, King David. And he was the one who built the temple.
No, it's not clear. Slow. Just repeat loudly.
He became king after his father. And is the one who built the temple. His father did not do.
Yes, at least there's something positive there. There's some positive things that you've told me about. How am I relating this to the issues of psychology and the children and development and others? Now, what we are saying is this. Let us all begin by giving glory to God for the sons and daughters who are on our hands. They are given to their parents by who? God the Creator. They are given. You know, How many of you chose what color you wanted to become when you were being born? Your height, your size. How many of us are able to choose? None of us, isn't it? Or to be born where you are born? None. And that includes the very children who you are teaching in class. Now, this step will enable us to appreciate all the children who come to us for spiritual care. Now, that is how important you are, teachers. These children have come to us for spiritual care regardless of who they are, regardless of where they come from. We've realized Solomon had all sorts of negatives, yes, isn't it? But remember what God's man is saying. Blessed be to the Lord this day, who has given to David a wise what? Son. And he's not actually just approaching, he's with Solomon. But who is he thinking about? The parent. That God has given David who? A wise what? Child. Let's call it a child. So our children are wise. And they are God what? Given. Despite the characters you see around. Despite the characters you see. Despite the stubbornness. But all those are given by God. And the Bible is very clear. So we need to hold what? We need to have a positive attitude towards all these children, whether they are very good children or very bad, but we need to have what? A positive attitude towards them. I want us to read Matthew 18, verse 3. Matthew 18, verse 3. Somebody again
Matthew
read
18.
verse 3.
18 verse 3, reading from New King James. It says, and said, assuredly I say to you, unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven.
Thank you so much. Unless you change and become like little children, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven. Which means, children as they are, they're excellent. Are you getting me? Children as they are, as we see them, they are actually excellent. And Jesus knew where he was referring to the children at that time as good, and he appreciated the children at that time. The children have not changed. They're the same children that we have today. And therefore, we need to see them as God-given, and the children are humble. Now, I want to ask a question. Why do you think Jesus told his disciples this and the people he was talking to? What is this that children have that Jesus made reference to? Let me ask you, do children get shy? Thank you. That's exactly the response I expected. Do children get shy? Respond the way you know. Don't be nini. Do children get shy? No, thank you. It depends on the age. It depends on the child. Shyness can be a trait. It can be inherited. Some don't get shy. Yesterday when we were in church, I was at Kilelesho, we worship outside under trees. So I saw a small boy. By the way, because of what I've done, I'm very observant on children. You'll find me even in church, my focus can be on certain children and how they behave. And at the end of the day, you find me appreciating certain things so much. So, of course, I was attentive listening to the sermon, but this boy, there's some soil that has been dug. I think when some ground was being dug, they have heaped some soil. So they look like small hills at the next where we were worshiping outside. Like a small boy, about 4 years old, just ran to someone time. Just rain was jumping up, jumps, reaches up, runs down, jumps to the other one, jumps, he kept jumping. Then I asked myself, of course I was able to get it, that boy was between 3 and 4 years. Because a 6-year-old cannot do that. Already a 6-year-old has started becoming conscious. Haezi fanya hivyo, haezi rukaruka hivyo watu wakimwangalia. So that child was a little bit younger. Then I said, how innocent this baby is. He was just, and everybody was just looking. It was a big group, but he was busy. And then he would stand and just look at the church members like this. He would just look at us on the faces. How many of you here would do that? None. I just want you to note who a child is. Innocent. That child didn't know. That child is so innocent. And then after that, he jumped, he did his things. He did his things. And next to me, the ones who were sitting next to me were actually busy collecting sticks. We are worshiping outside. They were busy collecting sticks and counting them. They were next to me at times. They would even push me and pass, and of course I would give them way. Now they picked a lot of sticks, and the ground was not very clean, but there was no big deal. It was all right. They were counting the sticks. So they were counting. There were 2 of them. I think they were cousins. So they picked. I had one said, "I've picked 9." Of course, there were 9. They were looking like 20, and they were saying, "Oh, I have 9. I've picked 9." And the other one, they were competing in picking sticks. Why am I telling you this? The innocence of the children, and at their level, that is where we teach them. You teach children at their level of what? Understanding. And what is the background of the child you are teaching at church? I want you to look at that picture again. And sorry, let me finish something to do with what, look at that picture I've put there. That child is doing what? I know you'll tell me it's obvious. What is that child doing? What is that child doing? Are we all seeing? Oh, please, I want all of you to talk, eh? I want all of you to talk, eh? What do you think that child is doing? That child probably could be an Adventist, isn't it? Yes. Why? I talk to Jesus when I pray. When I pray, I talk to Jesus when I pray, and he hears me, I know. That child must have sung that song maybe that the teacher sang. Are you seeing how humble she looks? I'm just trying to get you something. That child has knelt. She looks like she's actually praying deeply. Nobody knows. God knows the prayers the children make. But they don't bother. But they pray. When you see them on their knees, they have their own what? They have their own prayers that they say to God. And God listens to them. And see how deeply she has actually concentrated. She's not distracted. See where the hands are. That is how she's been taught. And that is exactly what she has done. And as I move on, I'd want you to note a teenager. Do you think a teenager can be this? Now, how many of you teach real time here? I hope you also have all those classes here. How many of you teach real time? For a long time, I taught real time, and it taught me. I taught, and it taught me also. You teach real time. Now, look at that picture there. What posture do you think a child, a girl, or a boy in real time would take? Anaweza kneel kama huyo. Just look at the way huyo mtoto amenil. How do they pray? Hello, Walimu, I thought you've been teaching. I've come to talk to people who have been teaching. And I told you it's so practical. We are talking. Me, I have not come to train. We are talking. Let's use the mic because of the recording. Eh?
These are adolescents, or they are approaching adolescence. And maybe when you can tell them to kneel down, they may kneel partially with one leg. Akiwa ameinama tu, akuangalia kama unaona. Alafu mwambie tunaomba, anaweza funga macho akiwa hivyo tu kama uone.
And at times, some may not close their eyes, isn't it? Yes. Age. And then, but we can see this one. Very innocent. Are you seeing her? Very, very innocent. But the moment this child gets to that age we are talking about, she might do what the teacher is talking about. And remember, we are yet to understand what we want to talk about. Eh? And then, I want you to look at that. Where do you think this one is? That picture. Which part of this, which part of Kenya is that? If it's in Kenya. Why do you say it's like northeastern?
Going by the reeds there,
yes,
that should be a place of, say, the Nilotes and the Cushites where they keep moving from place to place.
Yes.
And there's an availability. It's what they use actually for even for fencing their houses. So that should be a place in those sides.
All right. This looks like the dry regions. What again tells you? Are you seeing the ground there? How are those children even dressed? They're in slippers, eh? Yes, see the fence. And if you're able to even see the kiosk there, that should be able to tell you that this child is not in Nairobi. Isn't it? But I want you to take that child and take over one of our babies here. And you put them together, you are teaching that class. How would you teach? Hello. Now, this is where Adventist people, at times we go wrong. We like our comfort zones. Wish we had a way of going out to reach out even to these ones. Yes. You would object? Yeah.
I've been called to Shago to go to camp meetings. For instance, where I come from in Kisi.
Yes.
You cannot go there to teach Kiswahili. You have to go, you find that anakuja mekanyaga chini.
Yeah.
You have to appreciate the kid. You have to sing with them. You have to be like them. Kama ni kwa hiyo matope mukijeza kama ni kati kufanya nini during break times, you have to be with them unless you are not called as a teacher. Unless you love at comfort zones. We to Embakasi Central, kwenda South Church, kwenda New Life. But with some of us, we have gone even to Kiambu interior. Unaweka kwa nyumba ya mbuzi mahali na unakaa hapo na unafundisha the whole week as a camp teacher. Wakikuja kukutoa tazi na naambia hapana, mliniona nafanana kama mbuzi, wacha nikae hapa.
Thank you mwalimu. At least umejitetea. But labda ni wewe tu. Wengi, we actually don't get out to reach out to this lot. But I like the way you are putting it. What I want you to get this. Not all children don't learn the same. That's what I'm talking about. The approach must be what? Totally different. You get them where they are. You must lower yourself up to the level where those children are so that you get to them the word of God. Back to appreciating the child. In short, what I was just talking about was about what? Appreciation. The way Hiram appreciated the David's son. Now we are not even calling him Solomon. David's son, because that's how the Bible puts it. Hiram saw it as a child to David and appreciates the gift that God gave him. Remember, Solomon had a lot of weaknesses that Hiram was aware of. But his concern at that time was the positive attribute that Solomon had as we teach them. Now, I'll still keep on going back to my examples and use them as we go through this. Now, in South Church, I taught for a long time, I taught children. And it's not easy, my fellow teachers, to teach children because they are human beings, we are also human. Get that? At times we face challenges, isn't it? We face challenges in teaching some of these children. But we must do what? Our concern is the positive part of the children that you have in the class. These other issues, we need to actually ignore them or deal with them if we must. We are teachers of spiritual care, and the results are what? Eternal life. Unlike the other teachers whose results are for worldly glory and what? And gains. Our result is what? Eternal what? Life. That is our objective. Consider the long-term result of the duty on your hands as a teacher. And I'll still get back to the issue. We are talking still about the issue of appreciating the child. This therefore calls for sacrifice, patience, tolerance, discipline, courage, and wisdom from our side as teachers. And I'm going to tell you why we need all this. Why, as a teacher, must we actually in us have in mind that we need to sacrifice? Why should we be patient? Why should we be tolerant? Why should we be self-disciplined? And why should we have wisdom as we relate with these children? The reason being the psychological makeup of these children that makes all of us very difficult, at times with so many challenges, such that if you don't want to sacrifice as a teacher, you'll actually not teach children. If you're not patient, you'll not teach children. If you're not tolerant, huwezi funza hawa watoto. And kama hauna self-discipline, huwezi wafunza. If you do not have courage, you'll also not do what? Teach them. You also need wisdom like that one of Solomon to deal with some children. Because some of the children at their age, they're also very wise. They can be very wise. They can be very tricky and very cheeky. And that is in church. So how do you deal with it? You say, this is church, let me leave them alone. You do not do that. You could be dealing with children whose parents are what? Whose parents don't want their child even touched. And that's in church. Do you face that? We will talk about that. Another thing. Understanding still the psychology of a child, you must understand who you are. You as a teacher. What is your personality? You as a teacher. What is your personality? And then, because what we are influence the children that we teach. We influence them a lot. If you're a type that likes shouting as you teach, that is the exact influence you're putting into this child because of their age. Your emotions, your attitude. Now that's why I brought the two pictures, yes? Those two pictures of the children from reserved from certain backgrounds and others from others. Don't discriminate against children. So attitude can affect the children so negatively. Your interests, why are you teaching? Why did you accept to be a teacher of children in your church? Why did you accept? So that is also very important. What is your interest in it? Is it because you want to just help pastor do the work? By the way, why are you teachers? Well, let's look at that. Why are you a teacher of the children? I want somebody to answer this. Yeah, where is the microphone? Somebody to help move it around.
I'm a teacher because first, God has called me to serve. Second, I love the children. Thank you.
All right, that is good. He loves children and he has had the call of God. Anybody else want to tell us why he teaches children?
I'm a teacher because, first of all, I've been called to serve with the children. Then I'm so passionate with children. I love children so much because of their honesty. Children will not lie to you. Children will just tell you everything and they're open with you. And I enjoy. I love it. I'm passionate.
Wow, that is good. Anybody else who wants to tell us why he or she works with the children? Yes.
I love teaching children, especially the Pathfinders, because of all that the club has to offer. Because when you teach Pathfinders, you are bringing up children who will be all-rounded. A child at Okimpeleka, that area, he'll be comfortable. Taking the other side, also be comfortable. So the instills, the disciplines that are available in the club are what has motivated me to actually be a children's teacher, especially in that field. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Now back to this. Have you ever encountered any challenges when teaching children? Are you also a teacher of children? Pastor, are you also a teacher? You're a pastor? Yeah. Do you at times teach children, pastor?
Yes, I do, Pathfinders. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Have
you ever encountered any challenges with these children? Or it is, wow.
Okay, for me, I don't teach them frequently, and most times when I teach them, they're just attentive, so they don't challenge me in anything. They just listen to me. Maybe they fear pastor, so they just sit there. I teach them. I ask them questions. They ask me questions after the lesson. We are done. Well and good.
Oh, that's very, very interesting. You have wonderful babies here. I don't know how. Anybody else? Just tell us. You mean here in this church you don't encounter any challenges with children? Yes.
Sometimes children switch off and it really demoralizes.
Yes. Yes, sometimes they switch off. And then, anybody else? There are people here who want to tell us what they have encountered. Let me tell you, the Bible is very honest. Let's be as honest as the Bible.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, being a parent is sometimes, we have a lot to deal with, mostly in the house. You find that
unapata saa zingine mtoto anataka kukupima akili. So for me to know that, I'll have to go back to the church and know how the other kids also behave. That's why I am a teacher. Another challenge that I would say, the one that he has just said, saa zingine pia they switch off when you teach them. As in, ulikuwa kwa topic ingine, mwingine alishatoka nje ya class kitambo. And sometimes, maybe it's also caused by their parents, mostly. The problems that we have with the kids is caused by their parents' upbringing back at home. So me, I'm in this ministry, mostly, to bring up my kids in a way that God wants.
I like that honest answer, as honest as the Bible. Yes. And the rest, there's somebody at the back there.
Okay, thank you. Another major challenge that I've encountered dealing with the children and young adults, you find that there is this period when they are trying to form their identities. And you find that they are comfortable working with certain people and they are uncomfortable working with others. So you might find that you have given them a task and you have placed them in groups. But you find that there's one who, I want to be in that group because Fulani is there. So you find it challenging handling them at that phase.
Yes, I wish I could. How do you handle such a case?
Can I add one?
Yes, yes.
Children at times, you'll tell me your child is very good, but when he's in church, he's a totally different person. And so you may not want to believe that your child misbehaves in church. So sometimes parents may not want to really understand that when a child is at home, he's very, very different from when he's with other children. For example, I personally do not sing. But if you call Amo here, I may want to join Amo and sing because I will not be heard. So sometimes these children misbehave when they are in large numbers as opposed to when they are back at home. So it's difficult for parents to understand that mtoto wangu anafanyanga makosa.
But I want you to concentrate more the challenges you face in church here when teaching them.
Challenges that we face as a
in
teacher.
teaching them in the church.
Number
Not
one.
unless you have preached to them until now the spirit is all over and
There is what we call rejection. Wanakuangalia hivi kama sura yako haiwapendezi. Hawakutaki.
and that is what group is that? What group is that?
In fact, from real time,
Exactly.
ambassadors. Eh?
And what do you do when
What
you
what
enter
do,
rejected?
As a teacher, maybe let's say as a trained teacher of the children, if you encounter this, it will make you go back. Maybe, and organize yourself that the first appearance that you're going to make to these children, you will impact them. Number one, either the first day you can dress smartly, sharp, so that when you appear before them, they like you. Maybe number two, you come with good things that they can attract their attention. So when you draw them, now you teach them. So it gives us a lesson. Rejection, yes. When I stand up to salimia,
I hope you are seeing what he's doing, eh? Are you seeing what he's doing? Oh, okay.
So you will force yourself to do that with that rejection that day, but it will make you a lesson as a teacher. You go back to the drawing board. You can even say, now tomorrow, those who come first here, kutakuwa na zawadi. Maybe you can go and even buy sweets, for instance, or maybe mandazi for those who come and say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. I hope you're getting how you're moving. Yes, I hope you are not getting lost from what I'm talking about. I just want us to get exactly what we are looking for. Understanding the children that we are teaching, understanding their psychology. And actually, the simplest definition of psychology is actually the study of somebody's behavior. Just the simplest definition you can give it. Just the study of somebody's behavior. That is, of course, behavior. You'll talk about somebody's mind, somebody's thinking, and everything. Now, types of characters we encounter as teachers. I had this statement that I put in bold one time on radio, that human beings give birth to human beings, not angels. Now, if we were giving birth to angels, they would go straight to heaven, and I think there would be nobody on earth. So those are human beings. And this was a testimony given by a pastor, not an Adventist pastor. I had it on radio. He got married to one of the best ladies in church. And he contemplated getting the best children in this world. Then he was actually saying he was wrong. Their first child tormented them. The child was difficult. The second child was so difficult. And these are pastors. Then he was saying, let me tell you people, I've been taught a lesson. That human beings give birth to what? Human beings. So even pastors are human beings who give birth to what? Human beings. So what are we talking about? We are talking about a human being who is sinful. Even children are sinful. Don't be told that children are actually what? Angels. They're also sinful. And if pastor could tell us, we are all born into the fallen what? Nature. So they are also what? Fallen. And we would expect that. So let us note that the children who come to church are very normal, in that they are made of genes that have great influence on how they behave. And the environments they live in have contributed greatly to how they do their things. If a child lives with violence, where there is a lot of abusing and everything, you will see that in church. When a child lives in an environment where the child is always scared, shouted at, you'll see that child so withdrawn in the class. The child may not even respond to the questions that you ask. And so, which means that the class you are teaching in church is a reflection of what is going on in this world and what the influence the environment has given and the genes that the child has inherited from the parents. So that is what you are handling there. And not to forget, we are the same also with our own influences, from our own genes and from our own what? Environments. But all the same, we must meet somewhere. So our experiences too, and environments as teachers, are totally different. Yet we must meet somewhere in our reasoning and thinking in order to do what must be done. And what must be done is that we must go to heaven with our children, isn't it? Yes. And now let me come to here and we look at what we were describing, types of characters we encounter as teachers. Some children are extremely active and others are very rude, even at 3. Have you ever encountered a child at 3 years who is extremely rude? Who has ever encountered that in the class? We are not mentioning names, so it's okay. Yeah, very rude. You even call them, you will call them, and I'm just saying Jane. I don't know whether you have children who are called Jane. Jane. And the child will look at you and do, and the child goes, 3 years. And you are in church. How do you handle it? 3 years. And she has gone. And maybe what she's doing is actually going to disturb other children in the same class. How do you handle that? That is also a test on your own personality and you as a teacher. How do you handle that character? Hello, you don't encounter that? In case you encountered it, how would you deal with it? 3-year-old, you know, that's like a tiny thing, eh? You're calling it, let me even refer to it like that. Na anaenda kusumbua wengine pale. Na anakazana tu anaenda kunyang'anya mwingine hata kalamu. And here you are, Jane, come back. Na anakuangalia atake, naenda how do you handle it? Yes.
Because I've tried to call the child and is aggressive and also he makes another effort of going to disturb others, I will just go to the kid, take the kid and tell him whatever you are doing is wrong, put him down, give him 2 or 3, because for him to understand that he has done something wrong.
That is interesting. Oh, he's asking you a question. That's good. Ask him the question. Ask him the question.
As you give that 3-year-old 1 or 2, where is the parent at that time and what is the parent's reaction?
To be honest, on my side, whether the parents are around or not, I will deal with that case the way to deal it. If he comes, then later we will talk other things.
Anybody else who wants to comment? As I give you other examples and incidents I have seen also.
Okay, thank you. Okay, maybe personally, I've taught, I'm both a teacher in church and I've previously taught in secular education. And I'll attest that in church, it is very easier to teach and especially to handle children, because if you find such a case, the first instinct that you'll reflect on, what is the character of the parent? Because we understand that some of these children, they derive much from the behavior they see. Oh, yeah, exactly. And now, if you know the nature of the parent, now you might approach the parent and tell them, you know what, the child is ABCD. There are those parents who are honest and they will tell you, it's even like this at home. Kindly, when he behaves like this, do it like this. And then there are those parents who are protective of their children. You see, if you tell them their children are arrogant or aggressive in class or misbehaving, they might even explode with you as a teacher. So when you know the parent is approachable, you will approach the parent and you will work with the parent in handling the kid. If the parent is not easily approachable, now it's a hard task, because you will need now to use your own soft skills as a teacher to try to bring the child to be acquainted with you. You bring him closer to you, and then from there, you make him or her know that this is the way you are supposed to behave around others, to behave around me, and when they are comfortable with you, it will be easier to handle them.
Thank you so much. I like the way you have actually explained it and the solution that you have given. Let me give you an example that was in one church one time. There was this small boy. I'll give you an example of two boys. There was, actually it's one boy. I used to sit behind them sometime in church. And this boy used to come with the mother. So one time, I think the boy wanted to go out. Na mama namshikilia hivi. The boy disengaged himself from the mother. And I saw the boy do like this to the mother. He pushed the mother away, jumped out and ran out. And that was one incident. Then I felt a little bit disturbed. What's going on here? The boy was around 5 years old. And the same child one time used to run out, runs in, brings other children, takes them out to go and play. You know, now he's let me call lion here. Hakuna mtu anamchezea. Si kama ameshinda mamake, hakuna mtu anamguza. And you know, these God's people who are called deacons in church, at times our brothers suffer a lot. Let me tell you, they suffer a lot with our children. So this deacon comes and feels so concerned. Where is this boy? That's the second time, the same kid. He's run to go and bring another boy from where he was seated. A friend of his, they ran out to go and play. And now deacon does what he would do. So the deacon goes and tries to hold the boy. The boy stood. And I want you to see, and the deacon was a tall guy. And the small boy stood. You would think it was David and Goliath. But let me tell you, that is what happened. The boy stood and held him. And you know, I only just saw the deacon feel embarrassed. And that's why he stopped. It was at the middle, at the back of the church, like somewhere there. And people are looking, you know, disrupting the whole thing. Now, I think the deacon thought, if I go ahead to struggle with this kid, I'll disrupt the service the more. Do you know what? Very fast, he behaved as though he was not even dealing with it. He just walked and passed through the other door and got out. Left the boy. The boy picked that kid and they went. He actually did what he wanted to do. I just want to give you the extremes of behavior that we can also encounter in our churches. And eventually, I don't know where they moved to. I would have wanted, I told you at times, take a study a silent study, quiet study of certain characters. So I didn't know what happened at the end of the day, but that was one very sad case. There was also another one. When we were teaching children, he was also cruel. Na yeye ni hivi. You cannot tell the child even to move for another child. He wants to fight. But as we are talking, as a child grew, that was at 3 years. 6 years, he was the most humble kid you could teach in class. I hope teachers, you're getting what we are talking about, yeah? Yes. He changed from there. And let's involve all the children. As we teach, let's involve them, including such children. Don't ignore such characters. Such that if this child was in your class, you've noted it, this behavior, get close to the child, just as he has said. If there is something you want to involve the child in, enable the child to love what is going on in church. The child eventually, if he likes praying for the others, let the child do what? Pray. You can even get biased and have the child keep on doing what? Praying in church. Pay attention to this child. So that you can do what? You can reorganize his behavior towards the right thing that's supposed to be in church. You might get, I've just explained that point, gloomy and indifferent. What if you get a child who is so gloomy in church and so indifferent? You also pick out on this child, put the child closer, and give the child a lot of what? Attention. You'll get also children who are very jovial, and you'll also get children who they behave, they know all. Yeah, this is also in school. These children are in school as you teach for those who are teachers. The same is brought to church. You'll get a know-all type. And what do you do with a child who is a know-all type? But is it wrong? Is there anything wrong when a child seems to know everything? Hello, teachers, do you encounter this? So what have you been doing with them? Are you okay? Or I've taken you to something you have never thought of before. Yes.
What you do in such experiences, you will not shut those boys and girls. You give them an opportunity. Because as a teacher, you must know that you have a lesson that you have planned to teach. So if you find that a kid has what information, then you will use all your wisdom that you can be able to learn what he knows. Then you can be able to either add or subtract from what he has told the class.
Yes, do not, when a child like that is talking, do not cut the child short. Don't cut. Let the child do what? Talk. Let the child talk so that you get what is in the mind of that child. If you realize that what was in mind was correct and positive, make use of it. If it is not correct, then with a lot of humility, correct it very nicely so that you don't discourage the child. You correct it with a lot of humility. And you can also come across children who are very proud and arrogant. That is what we were talking about. Very proud. Do you encounter them? Remember, these are behaviors that they have been born with. The environment has also taught them. What do you do? Pastor, my eyes are on you. Pastor, you come across a young boy or girl, especially girls, very proud and very arrogant, such that you are not even able to deal with the group that you are dealing with. How would you handle it, Pastor? Sorry, Pastor, for putting you on the stop several times. Give Pastor the microphone. Just tell us how you would handle you as a pastor, not even as pastor. How would you handle it as a person?
I'll take time with that young lady. Definitely, most of the time, what we always advise or think of first is to pray with that person. But apart from that is to relate so that you can win her confidence for you to be able to help her understand the dangers or whatever she's doing is not good. Because you cannot just approach her and tell her, this is wrong. Because already she's proud, she'll not listen to you. So I'll find somewhere, a way which I'll win her heart by either talking to her frequently or rather getting to know what she loves most, I'll be able to do with her so that I may be able to help her understand that is wrong.
Thank you, Pastor. I think that's the best approach. Let us always remember to pray for the children we are teaching, all right? Pray for them as individuals. Pray for them as individuals. God answers prayers. Thank you, Pastor, for that. God answers prayers. You pray for them as individuals so that it becomes easy for you to teach them. On the other hand, we'll come across children who are very calm. Sorry, that is calm, not clam. Calm and cool, pleasant babies to teach. Then very courteous, very well-mannered children, very polite, very caring, very friendly, and so forth. We have children who are very good in class, but then we have those other characters. And yet, you have the two characters in the same what? In the same class that you are teaching. And even these ones, you need to make sure that you build these positives through the Bible so that they continue being like that. You don't ignore them. So you pay attention to both. For these ones, continue making sure that they are like that. Let me tell you that among those we are teaching, we have presidents, we have choir masters, isn't it? We have teachers and we have school prefects, even below 10 years of age. So now, teachers, how do you handle these characters and yet you're a Christian teacher? That is what we've been talking about. It can be challenging at times. It can be challenging. Let me give my own example. My son, when he was young, he could not sit still in church. He would run out, up, down, and I kept on moving. I would make him sit. But I would realize it was not possible for him to sit. And there was this deacon who was very kind. And what he told me one time, he realized I was actually getting tired of the small baby. That's my firstborn child. He told me, don't worry, let me have the child. So he would time him when he was walking out, he made him his friend. So when he would start running out, he would actually smile and go and sit on his laps. He helped me a lot. So he would sit on his laps. He ended up most of the time on the laps of that deacon. And so when I would turn and see to go for him, I would actually find him smiling with me. Because he was what? He was at peace on the laps of the deacon. And the deacon just learned him. He learned him very well, and he knew this child, I know what I can do to him. So he would actually relax and just listen to what was going on until the service was over. So he made him his friend, and they continued operating. So some of these very active children, there are people in church actually who can help. There are people who can actually manage them, and which can be very, very good. Now, I want us to look at that. You need to know how to communicate with children depending on their age. I want you to look at that picture. Look at the man who was bent. Why do you think he has done that? Look at the two older men. How are they communicating to those children? They're in a games activity. But what have they done? Are you seeing the pictures? Which way have they done? They have done what? They have done what? Yes. There are things we take for granted, but they are not. When you're talking to children, inabidi, saa zingine you even do what? Yes, so that you reach what? Their level of communication. What if you are doing this? What is that nice baby? So that I would demonstrate, she has gone. I want you to stand like this, and the baby is here. I want you to see, how is the baby looking? You intimidate that child. You intimidate the child, and it is not something small, it's very big. When communicating with the child, even in church, just get to their level so that they can understand you. So that you can also do what? Understand them. Don't stand and shout from here. You intimidate them. You make the children, you intimidate them, and then you make the children, it is like you are such a boss in church. Yeah, so don't talk, and to the children, don't be a giant before them when you are in church. Just be what? At their level. In terms of small things like those, how you communicate with them. Be aware of all these traits also in the room and who has what. The characters we have just analyzed are not only in church, but also in various homes, and parents know them. Handling these characters, therefore, begins at home, and the way they are handled in their homes will either make it easy to handle them at church or difficult. I think somebody has said that, isn't it? For instance, a parent who ignores or tolerates selfishness in the home allows it to be carried on to school and what? And church. A child who will eat all the apples that have been served at the table will also come to church and will want to handle all the crayons and take all of them or pencils. Have you encountered that? Yes. Children even steal. There is a time I brought a lot of colors, and we do, not even around last year, we were teaching some young children. Then this girl picked some colors, some crayons, and hid in her bag. That was in church. The other children saw. Then one kid came and, teacher, angalia, ameweka pencil. Actually, what we did, she saw, when she realized she has been reported, she removed them and put them at the table. And that confused me a little bit because I did not expect it from that particular child. But you can expect anything from a human being, isn't it? Yes. So I went and put my hand around her and called her by name. Then I told her, you know what? Don't do what you did again. I whispered because I didn't want to embarrass her. I whispered to her, I told her, please don't take again. This is for God's work. You don't hide this. It's for God's work. So I want you to note that you also encounter all these in church. But we must do what? Handle them. And remember the statement I made at the beginning. We've been given a responsibility of preparing people for eternal what? Life. And we need to correct all those. Now, just as my last bit of my presentation, how do we get this? So, what is this psychological understanding of why we behave the way we behave? At some stage, all children get selfish. We all need to handle it rightly. Now, the cradle roll child, 0 to 3 years, or at times it's good to deal with them from 0 to 2 years, has no trust in the world apart from parents. So the teacher has to start from mommy and daddy to get to sing with these ones. 0 to 3 years don't trust you. You are strangers to them. That is why some will even cry and even brush you away when you want to hold them. Because with them, they don't trust anybody. And that is given. That is given for all human beings. They don't trust apart from who? Their parents, and probably the people they have grown up with, the people they are acquainted with, even a house help. They can get so close to them. They trust them. But the rest, they don't trust you even as a teacher. So those who are teaching this level, what do you do? To develop, to have this child trust you. You must get to the mommy and daddy level. Kind of. In your talking, in your humbling, you have to make steps to get to this child. And let me tell you, and this is why sometimes as teachers we suffer. We end up having this class full of mummies and house girls. Do you encounter that here? So that now who are you teaching? Are you teaching mummies and daddies and house helps, or you are teaching the child? So it becomes a challenge. Do you know the reason why? Watoto ukataa. They don't do what? They don't trust you. They don't trust me. So we need to get a way of actually getting the trust. So that now, at 3 years, the parents for sure can go and leave this child with us. They can leave them with us. And now, let me bring out something now that is not explained for in the Bible. What materials do you use for teaching this level? Now, back to the real classroom. That's why I told you I'm using what I have done to use it in church. I'm using it and bringing it back here. Children of this age, children learn practically. They learn practically. So I hurried from my house in the morning because I fear jam. I wanted to carry certain materials. If you have children of this age, please don't carry the way I'm teaching you here. They will never pay attention. You lose them completely. So can you changa pesa? Nunua what to teach with. Get pictures. Give them things that they can carry on their hands. If you want to teach about fish, allow them, and don't expect this age to be orderly. Please, are you getting me? And don't feel embarrassed that when somebody comes to the class where you are teaching, these kids are very disorderly. Once in a while they can be disorderly. Do you know why? If you have the drawings here that you have put, or posters you put here for teaching them, they have seen fish. One will shout from there, fish, another one, frog. There will be a lot of noise in the class. Please don't shout back at them. That's how they learn. And they will even run to come and touch and even pull. You only have to be enough teachers who know how to handle them. Allow them to come. Give them things that they touch. They will never cling to their parents. And at the same time, these children will never even disturb you. Why they disturb is munaenda pale, munaimba throughout. The parents are holding like this, ni kuimba tu, hiyo inaisha. They have not learned anything. It's the parents who have listened to the stories. Because at 3 years, they should go home having in mind, talking about Jonah fish. Oh, you know the story, eh? Yeah, they'll know the story of Jonah. And do you know why children like the story of Jonah? Because of the fish aspect. That the fish opened the mouth. So they learn practically. And so when they see the picture, they see the mouth of a fish like this. And then they see Jonah inside. I'm telling you, that child will never forget that you are teaching. Lakini ukienda pale uchukue Biblia kama hii yangu hapa, you open that book and say, you know Jonah was going to Nineveh. Then he ended up, they have gone home with nothing. You've bored them. And that's why they will run away. They disturb the whole church because of wrong method of handling them. Even in church, let's learn the age and level of children and how they need to be taught. So please, if you don't have those materials, changa pesa, tafuta somebody anunue. Get those things practically. Get the fish. We have all of them. Even I think we have second-hand materials also that are very good. They're even better actually. Get them. Bring them and give them the real fish. Show them the real the real frog that Pharaoh that entered in the Pharaoh's house. If you're teaching that story of Pharaoh, get those frogs. Get a drawing of course they will get so scared. And you know, they get the story real. You tell them, you see this is Pharaoh's house. You know, you tell them it was like here. And they see, they put 3 frogs here. And the children will go home and say, Mommy, you know, there were frogs in Pharaoh's house. I hope, are you getting what we're talking about? That is a 3. Even if they don't know how to talk, they say floor. They will call it floor, but you will understand it's what? Floor fay. Yes. It's a flog. It's a flog in Pharaoh's house. But there's what? Communication. You've even taught them. Lakini ukuje na kitabu, the ones we've been given by the conference to teach. Unasimama hapa unaendelea. You actually waste your time. The next level, the kindergarten class. 4 to 5 years is an explorer who never gets tired. These ones want music with instruments. And if the teacher refuses them from exploring, they reject the teaching and the class. Now, these are the ones again who will jump or even sleep. At times there is no sleep, they are bored. You see them or they disturb others or they pinch others because they are bored. These are musicians now and they want practical, also music. If you are doing, like there's that song that we sing about, do you know the name of this? Yes, I know the name of that. It's a beautiful kayamba. Jesus loves you and me. Solatido, whatever it is, yeah? Yes, those are the things they like. So if you get a mfano of those things, bring them. So that they have a kayaba, that shh, shh, shh. Then they have that small guitar, isn't it? Yes, that's how they learn. And then when they go back home, when they leave, they will say, today, Mami unajua ile kitu? Kuna kitu tulicheza na anafanya shh, shh. So the parent will know there was a shh, shh. They don't know the name. But it will be what? Shh, shh, shh. And that is how people worship. Shh, shh. Or you tell them, David played what? What did David play, by the way? David played something? What did he play? Yes. You get something like that. And you're telling them the story about David. Then you get it. And you are singing their song with David doing that. They will get it at that age. They will get it. So these are explorers. So even if you have these explorers in your house, know how to handle them. Wrong method of teaching can bore them. They want active participation with the pictures they can point at. Now these have a lot of why, who, when. When is Jesus coming? Who is Satan? They will disrupt your teaching so as you can answer them. So answer them. Please don't tell a child, wait a minute. No, they don't know how to wait. Akikuuliza, teacher, and who is this Jesus? Some questions, you can't answer. Sasa ukiuliza wewe utasema ni nani? How did Jesus look like? You've not seen Jesus, you and I. These pictures we see are the people who volunteer their photos so that they appear like Jesus. These are not Jesus here. So that you start to describe Jesus had long hair. Who knew Jesus had long hair? Or Jesus had a beard? You cannot explain. My friend's daughter one time was in a school bus. She used to go to McKinney Girls. I'll never forget that story. So there was this girl who was rough in the bus. The girl was rough in the bus all the time. And she used to feel so bad. She used to rough her up. One time she went home. One evening she told Mommy, mother asked, why are you so sad, Ashley? Mommy, you know, there is a girl who harasses me in the bus all the time. She's just like Jesus. I want you to think about that. What picture did this girl have about who Jesus is? Teachers, nisi tumefunza watoto tabia hiyo. The bad girl, the rough one, is Jesus. Is Jesus bad like that? What had this child been taught? That you see, she's just like Jesus. So, most probably, we might have told the child in church that Jesus is so powerful, that Jesus is so mighty, you can't do anything, you can't get close. But mtoto akaelewa wrongly. So na akiona mtoto mbaya kwa school bus, huyo is just like Jesus. I can't even talk, I can't get close, alimuogopa. So it's coming to describe to the mother, that is actually a baby most of the time who are a friend to my children. And I'll never forget that. And another one, the child saw, they go to a Catholic church, so they saw the boy saw the priest in the white gown. And then he ran and told the mother, Mommy, see Jesus. So what are we teaching our children? Who is Jesus? So when I got those together, I started wondering, where are we going wrong in what? In our teaching. So this age where they even ask you, who is Satan? So please be ready, teachers, read well. That's what I mean. Have good answers. Have correct answers for the children, because at this age, they are very inquisitive and they want the correct answers. And that is to say, let me now also get back to this. You will tell them how Jesus was born. They will even ask you, how was Jesus born? Don't give wrong stories. Tell them how children are born. You're getting that from me, from the psychological thinking. Even in church, don't give wrong what? Information. You know how children are born, isn't it? Tell them how Jesus was born. And even, hello. Now, please, somebody wake him up. Because he's a person I have interest in, because he deals with the teenagers. And that's a very, very special class. So they can get aggressive and throw crayons at you if you do not allow them a chance to do their work. So do not ignore them, because they will get frustrated. Don't frustrate children by ignoring them. We have another level, 6 to 12 years. This is the primary and what class? PowerPoint, isn't it? Primary and PowerPoint. These ones are already in school, isn't it? They're already in school. These ones want to be recognized. Now there's something you were talking about that I wanted you to listen to. That is why I have. And be praised. These ones want to be praised. So know them and call them by name and praise them. Failure will lead to rebelliousness. You must know who you are teaching, especially this age. You call, hey, John, read for us. They always want to read the Bible. Have you noted that? This is the age that wants, because they know how to read. And when they read and you say amen and say that is very good, you made their day. I'm telling you, they feel so good. Next time they'll want to read. But do not correct them when they mention, instead of reading, saying Jesus, they say G, they can't get it right. Don't correct them. If you must correct them, later, not in public, because they will never read that Bible again. They'll never read the verse. This is a very sensitive group. So praise them when they have read that verse for you. Failure will lead to what? Rebelliousness. It's around this time when they actually might want to refuse to give children sermons when you call them. They're getting to that age. Teach them what is relevant to their needs, what supports self-esteem, and at age 9 to 10, they may start refusing to stand at the pulpit to do the children's sermon. Now, I remember My daughter used to give very nice sermons of the children. Then one time, and I wanted her to go and give. She totally refused. I felt so frustrated. I had not understood much of the issue of these ages, yeah? She refused, and then I felt so frustrated. Then later I came to understand, what is this age that I'm dealing with? Nikakuwa mpole. You can't push them, because they will not do it. Now they will shy off. Remember this age 9 to 10, for girls, what's happening at this age? They have started growing into bigger girls, isn't it? And then they start feel people are looking at me, people are seeing me. They become even conscious, start conscious a little bit about the dress. My dress is not good, even if it's the best dress they have worn that day. So they become conscious. Don't push them, don't force them. If they are willing to go, let them go. If you can talk them to go, let them go. If they refuse, please don't use force. These are attention seekers who may want to avoid assignments and who value friendships. These are the ones who started getting into groups. They get into groups. And by the way, our children also can disorganize us even in church. They even group according to classes in church, and they know the classes. Do you see that? I'm back to Pastor. Pastor, do you see that? Our children are putting us in classes in church. Our very own children. And they know the classes. And I want again to give you an example of what happened. Sorry, kindly, you tell me if it's time I stop. Maybe I might have passed your time. Yeah, where is the leader? Tell me if it's time, I will stop. And I want to give you this example. We had VBS in my church. And there were young girls of the group that you teach. I think they were around 12. A new girl came in who didn't look dressed like them. She didn't look like she knew fashion. But she was dressed. She was okay. They looked at her. When the teachers walked out, I remember I was the lead of VBS at that time. The teacher walked out. Then these girls started asking her. They got into a group of 4. They were 3. I remember them to date. They are now, I think, they are finished Form 4 now. So they sat around this girl. They started asking you, hey, how are you? Where do you come from? I think she didn't know why she felt harassed. And this girl was an orphan. And then she told them, my mother died. Oh, your mother died. Sorry, we are going to bring you our clothes. It was bad. Do you know, I started by telling you, we give birth to what? Human beings, not what? Angels. Our very own babies are terrible. They are terrible even in church. So they talked a lot of things. They sympathized with this girl. Do you think they were really doing bad according to them? No. They were not really doing bad. They only realized, why are you like this? Why are you not the other way? So we will bring you some of our clothes. If your mother died, do you know, to them, even the concept of a mother dying, they didn't understand what it meant to this girl. The next thing that this girl did, after the break like this, she ran out of the gate. I came to be told by one of the parents of the girls who were tormenting this one. So she came to me, she told me, let me draw attention to you. Are you aware that this thing happened? My daughter, so and so and so and so did this. It disturbed me because we could not get the girl again. The girl, I think, had come in, followed some other children. We didn't get the girl. But then she was able to talk to the daughter because she saw the daughter. And she got, actually she got the girl when the girl was crying, running away, she asked her. Then she got the group still discussing the girl after she had left. One of them was her daughter. That's how she was able to get. So she reported her daughter to me, plus the other girls. And I knew the parents. So, but first of all, aliwasomea. Wote, including those ones who are not hers, aliwasomea. Then she brought the report to me. Then I actually talked to the parents of the others. Not because I'm reporting to them wrongly. They are bound to do that. Just for the parents to explain to them what it means to what they did meant to this child. And I hope I'm communicating to you about things we are encountering in what? In church. This child was sensitive because she's lost her mother. She has lost parents. She's an orphan staying somewhere with people. And she had an urge to come to church. She has come to church. She's been treated like that by our own what? Children. What if this mother didn't get that story? so that it was discussed. So be one of the friends. This age here, they need people who want to befriend them. Just be their friend. Real time class and cornerstone, 13, 17 years. In which class are these ones? Some of these are class 8 getting to secondary, isn't it? Hani watu wakubwa, isn't it? Hani wakubwa. They can even come to church to look for boyfriends and girlfriends. Do you see that? Hello? Am I talking to the I told you let's be as open as the Bible, isn't it? Yes, hao wengine wanakuja kutafuta boyfriends and what? And girlfriends, and they really know how to do it. Oh, they even tell you the ones they have. Yes. Okay, now let's go. Appearance is key to them, regardless of what the Bible could be saying. It is upon the teacher to guide them and pray with them. This is the time as Adventists, with our culture of no earrings, no what. This is the age now when you will find this. They will actually look at others and find how do they actually appreciate the outward beauty so much. Now, the girl who used to wear some nice long dress to church, now you find this class is far above the knee here. Na mama akiongea nyumbani anamwambia, it is my body. They do that. And they will come to church. And some of them now, that mind of that baby was kneeling that we saw is not there. It has totally changed. Because they may not even kneel. This is the type that will just stand and look at you. And wait, you are praying, the prayer is too long. The prayer becomes too long for this age. And that is why if you keep praying for so long, next time they'll tell the parent, is he in the church? They pray for too long. The service is too long. In the afternoon, there is something they want to go and watch. They don't want to be in church. How do we deal with this? This is where we've lost our children. Some have even become Muslims, by the way. Some have gone to other churches. This is where we lose them. So the teachers who handle this must be teachers who are informed, and you really must put that sacrifice we were talking about here. You must be set and determined to be a friend to these children. Get close to them and get hold of them so that we do not lose them. Because we have lost a number from church, because I think many times we are unable to actually get that method of holding onto them. That is how we have lost them. And just as I've told you, appearance is key to them. That is why they dress the way ears, put their earrings. The parent won't even talk. If the parent talks, they scream, they cry, they run away from home, you don't even see them. Now, this is a stage of confusion. So if someone wrongs them in church, they walk out. They will actually even never come back to church. And then this is where also some parents will start blaming us as teachers. Let's be very, very careful. The child might even say, "Uyule teacher liniongelesha vibaya." So you also need to be very, very careful. But then, we don't have to tolerate certain things in church because we fear what we are going to be told, my friends. Let's correct it, but in the best way possible. We don't have to tolerate it if it is going to make the rest of the group get out of hand. Like I remember in one church, some young man was complaining to me. There is a girl who would actually wear a miniskirt and make herself so different from what we would expect as Adventists, go and start choristering. And so many other kids realized, ukumbe, we can do that. And so many other young girls started changing. She would even volunteer to come and teach them during VBS, during camp meeting. Then one young man approached me, akaniambia, "Mwalimu, what do we do?" No, I had since left, it's somebody else leading. Now this is even actually some few weeks ago. What do we do? And you know, my response was, it is not a must. Are they the only ones who can teach those children? Because you see, like what you were told in the morning, it's monkey do what? Monkey see, monkey what? Do. So you don't allow them. It's just that. Because I remember during our time, sorry, I must keep on making reference to our time. We were with the ladies we were working with in children's ministry. I remember two whom I appreciated so much. We had one lady, when those young people would come, they want to volunteer, she would stand there and tell them, "So and so, you will not come to help us." And she didn't care. She would tell, "So and so, you are not, but if you want to come," if there were two ladies actually, they would tell them, if you want to come and help us, don't dress the way you are dressed today. She would actually tell them, you don't, that is when we are just us as teachers. You don't come. You want to volunteer, you don't dress like that. And I would see them actually come different. So you just tell them openly, if you want to come and help teach, because they will undo what you have already done. You're busy telling the children about the values we were talking about here, about how to dress, how to do everything. Then when they come like that and they talk differently, you are undoing what you've already taught. So it's just good to actually be honest and get a way of handling this. So, and we've talked about this age, and just finishing, if you do not tick in the way you present yourself again to this group, they will walk out of class and even enter lower class, higher or avoid church or come during divine only. So if you're teaching them, that they look at you the way he said. Your own dress does not make them feel good about the way you look like. Watakudarau. Because you are not well dressed. Sasa yule mwalimu, they'll even discuss you and gossip. They'll gossip about you. Angalia yule mwalimu. Akile dress ye mbona alivaa hivi hata haimatch. This is the group. So also try, if you are dealing with this group, if you are a gentleman, please dress in a way that actually you are presentable. And if you are a lady, also be presentable to them. If you know you will not be able to be present before this group, don't teach it. Naenda kwa wale wadogo, those small ones don't mind. And because they don't see those things, they see other things. They want you to trust them. They want you to trust them. They want you to love them, to cuddle them. But these ones, they will torment you also. They will even sneer at you mpaka the next time. Hata ukichaguliwa kuwe mwalimu wa watoto unasema hapana, sasa hapa nimeserve for so long. Kumbe that's not the issue. You are only tortured. Remember, you are also a human being with your own psychology and with your own thinking. So you have to be very careful. We also know where we fit in. If you don't fit in some of these classes, please go to where you fit and where you can teach. These ones can torment you. Remember, these are Form 2s, the bullies in school. And don't worry about them. We all passed there. It is a stage. Ikipita, they become very nice people later on. But let's get to know that. Do not conform to them. Talk straight to them. Be warm, create a rapport, and engage them in real life situation style of approach to biblical teaching. Do not beat about the bush. Talk to them what? Straight. If you're talking about sex issues, talk it what? Straight. Tell them what it is. Because now this is the age that we can easily lose from church. Simply, if they have friends in church, tell them what it is. They'll even ask you about the friendship. If you have seen two of them, maybe a boy and a girl, they are getting so close, talk to them about it. Don't start telling them it is wrong. Is it wrong? And some of them, there is one who asked the mother. The mother was so keen at this age. And we were in church with her. Now the mother realized she was very close with the small boys in church. The mother asked her, I've seen you doing this. Do you know what the girl asked the mother? And you, where did you find my father? So, what do you say next? What do you do next? It's a reality, isn't it? Let's not hide. Let's deal with these things as openly as they are. Yes, I found your father, but we met at this age. This is how we met, and this is what it is. But you see now your age here. Or this small boy, what are you going to do with this small girl at this time now? If the issue of friends, you are reading the Bible together, it's okay. But now, do you want to get married at age 15? Please talk straight to them, but with a lot of what? Love. And also you can make it humorous. Make it humorous so that they don't find it so bad. Like now I found that lady, my friend telling me, I can imagine that is how my daughter was talking to me. She's so difficult. But it's the way I think she also approached her. She should have probably approached her in a different way. Make them feel real and great. That's how you win them. Tell them, oh my, you're so good. When they talk something, tell them, wow, this is big, this is good. Make them feel that they are people. You are a somebody. They have questions about what the Bible could be saying about boyfriends and girlfriends. Sex, hugging, dressing. This is the group that will ask you, is it wrong to hug? Not unless you've not been asked that. Yeah. Are you getting that? They will ask you also to please handle them. Don't shelf their questions. That's how we are losing our children. Don't shelf the questions or get a way of organizing as a church to deal with those things. So guide them. Do not do what? Do not ignore them. As we understand our children, develop in them love for God and others. Consider them as individuals. Guide them to guard against temptations. Teach them a sense of responsibility. Ignore failures if possible. Respond to their questions using the Bible as a reference. All their answers are actually in the Bible. Remember, your influence upon them is great. And as we take care of children in church, we are building spiritual what? Temples. Not of stone, but of what? Heavenly character. Make children feel the reflection of heaven on earth and not hell. Be able to read when children have a social challenge and deal with it. The parent may be the problem, so he or she may not need to know. There are children who have been helped at the church level. There are especially the last class that I've talked about. There are children who have contracted even sexually transmitted diseases. And they can approach you in church because they have trusted you, because they know the Bible is good. And they approach you, they have a certain problem. Mwalimu, confidence. Be confidential. See how to deal with it without the parent doing what? Kama mtoto amekuambia mzazi asijue, get away of helping that what? Child. If a child has come to whisper to you, you see the child is so dull. The child could be having a problem. The child comes and hides and whispers to you. My dad and mom don't live well at home. By the way, that makes it so difficult for children, even in church. They even leave church. Dad and mom always quarrel. My dad beats my mother. My dad abuses my mother. My dad never buys food. My mother never buys food. My mother goes out with other boyfriends, and they know it. When a child comes to you and whispers those things, help the child without disclosing it, because they will lose trust in you. They have picked on you as somebody who is going to help them. And you know, our help is where? It's in church. Even your help and mine. I know it's more of in church than where? Out there. So they know their help is where? Is in church. And they will actually, if they trust you, you will know so much about this child. And you will help this child without anybody else knowing. So teachers, we are very, very important, and we have been given what? A duty to do. So thank you so much. May God bless you. We have gone through as straight as the Bible talk, I believe. We could have even done more, but maybe for next time. But thank you for listening to me. But remember what we said initially. We have a duty of supporting children to do what? To get their what? Eternal what? Life. We are building character. Not the character of this world, but which character? The heaven what? Character. The character has come because of our genes and environment, but the heavenly character is different. And let me tell you, the Bible changes these earthly characters. A rough, proud girl can change using the Bible, through you. So we can actually change the world. We can change the children, we can change the church, we can change the world, we can make a difference, you and I. And may God bless you, and thank you for the chance you've given me. Sorry, probably I've taken so long, but I wanted these points to be at home. Asante sana.
For that session, you've talked about something, and I'll wish to hear how you respond it. The way you tell children how we get children, or how we get babies, or where babies come from, because it's a question they normally ask. So how do you respond it?
Hello, yes, Pastor. How do you think you would respond to that? How have you responded before? It's a common question. How have you responded to it before? You bought a child at the supermarket. The child has come from heaven, dropped on earth. Is that correct? Now, how would we respond to that question? And which age asks, by the way? Because here what I'm doing, remember what my nini was based on ages, eh? Yes. What age normally asks?
6, 4, 6, 4, 5, 6.
Now, where is the microphone? Because it's good to hear. Yeah. What age?
From the age of 3.5, as long as mtoto amejua kuongea na anaona what's going on, lazima atauliza. Like for example, pale hapo Garrison kuna jirani, she's expectant. So her baby, she's 3 years and a half. Every day anamuuliza, "Mom, hii ni nini kwa hapa ndani?" Mamake anamwambia ni mtoto. Anamuuliza, "Alipita aje akaingia hapa?" Sasa hapo hizo maswali zote, si unaona sasa inategemea the age yenye mtoto wako na environment yenye ana grow. So any age from 3 and a half.
Thank you for that. How do you respond? How have you responded to those questions? I know humanly it may be difficult to tell the child exactly what goes on, and if they will comprehend. How did you respond? Those who have been asked. You didn't respond? You beat around the bush.
Let
you don't
me
know how
try.
to tell them. Yes.
Maybe personally we encountered the same. One parent akamwambia nina mtoto anatoka supermarket. Then from the pocket money, one time mtoto alikuwa anapewa akienda shule ile ya kununua snack jioni. Akaweka kwa bank, akaweka kwa ile kamkepe. Ikajaa ile kamkepe hii. Inaitwa aje? Hiyo home bank. Ilipojaa sawa, ikafika December akamwambia mami, nataka tuende supermarket. Akapepa ile mkepe yake ikiwa na coins ya 2020 imejaa. Nataka tununue mtoto. Wakapita. And the long run the baby girl was embarrassed. But maybe from my view is as teachers we need to watoto ambao ni wa 4, 5, 6. Hawa wa 3 and 4 you need to tell them the truth. But how? 4 years, dadi na mami ndio wanaleta mtoto. Sawa, usiruhusu akukontrol zaidi ya hapo eti aje. Huyu utamwambia. Remember these young ones at the age of 6 and 7, for those of us who live self-confused houses, know there are those who stay in contained and others confused. Pasia na wengine hapa. So when the dad and the mom
Nilikuwa 9 na akaniuliza mbele ya brother mwenye ko 4 years by that time. So okay, the first question alituuliza ni kwamba we were in the sitting room tunaongea, ndipo akatuuliza, "Mami na daddy, si tunataka another, mimi nataka girl." So because she's a girl, she wanted another girl. Mami yake akamwambia, sahi hatutaki mtoto. Then she asked, "By the way, mtoto anapatikana aje?" That is the question she asked. Then mama akashindwa kujibu because alishindwa sasa ataanza kumuelezeaje. But this is the way I answered her in front of the brother. Nilimwambia, "Mami and daddy are the ones wanakuja pamoja at the right time, ndipo wanafanya nini? Mtoto anapatikana. But si kwa wale watoto wadogo. Utakapokuwa mkubwa na wewe, ikifikia umri wa kuolewa, that's when utakuja kupata mtoto." Aka understand that, akasema ni sawa. Sasa kaniambia ni aje, nikamwambia mengine huwezi jua sahi, lakini ukiwa mkubwa utafanya nini? Utajua. Then she was satisfied. That's how I answered her.
But Pastor, are you getting that, or you are still looking for? It actually depends, and it depends on the child and the way it has been asked. There are those who will not comprehend, like now 0 to 3 years, and some of them, let me tell you, don't think awajui, they have a clue. They have a clue. Do your children watch TV and everything? You leave them with the cartoons and everything. They know. They have a clue, so some even want you to demonstrate so that they can see. That is how naughty they can get. So they have a clue. At an earlier age, they may not fully do what? Comprehend the whole story. So when you just explain to them the way you have said up to some level, They will actually have in mind the baby is not bought, but never say the baby is bought in a supermarket. You can take them to some level, but from around 8 years, tell them exactly what it is. Those are not small people. They are not young. They will understand, Pastor. Those ones from 8 years, tell them exactly what it is. Tell them, explain to them how it is, because they will, they'll go to school and they learn the biology books, isn't it? They will learn biology. And for a girl, by 9 years old, that's a big girl, and she must know. 9 years she must know, because she needs to be what? Careful also how she lives her life. So they need to know by 9. But our wadogo, it's just because, and it is normal, that what is this, they are inquisitive, they really want to know. But you can take them to a level, just the way you did, because they will not comprehend everything. And let me tell you, the moment also, you also must be very careful. If they have seen it on TV, they'll practice it.